The Amargasaurus, a fan-favorite dinosaur from Jurassic World Evolution 2, has just been added into Jurassic World Evolution 3. So let's get this adorable little creature its own little petting zoo. A drive-by petting zoo is what I'm trying to go for here, and a drive-by zoo is nothing without a tiny ticket booth, so that's precisely what I'm building right now. Before we continue any further, I want to mention that I have lost a lot of footage when building this, and the reason for that is because I play this game on the PS5, and when you turn off the PS5 without you stopping your recording beforehand, the recording is lost. It'll be there in your media gallery, but you won't be able to actually play the video. And that's what's happened quite a bit in this video, so please forgive me if you can't see the full building processes of certain structures. Anyway, no building is complete without any trims, so we'll just place some down right here at the base and some near the top to help with that awkward wood to copper transition. We'll also just smoothen out the edges a bit using these chuck-in columns, which have these nice low budget look to it, which is always something you see in drive-by zoos like this one. A little texture never hurts, so we'll just surround the entirety of the building's walls with some of these wooden trims, which also happens to have that splintery low budget look to it. For the front wall though, we'll add some gantries instead of the wood, because let's be honest, the wood wouldn't work quite well with the window being right in front of it. And we can't forget the finishing touch, which is the lettering right on the copper roof. Finally, we copy this over a couple of times, add some fencing to stop any trespassers, and then we deal with the path. Right here, I've built a simple garden, which is one of the two big things I've lost footage of, but again, it was a rather simple structure, so it's nothing to lose any sleep over. It's literally just a bunch of plants, a sauropod skeleton, and some glass fencing, so we'll be fine. In front of the enclosure, I use the circle technique to place some wooden flooring around the garden, and I shift the glass fence around a little so it lines up a bit better. Naturally, some issues will arise regarding bad transitions, but it can easily be fixed with the non-grid grass floors I use right here. Then begins the excruciatingly long process of filling in the entire place with path. And apparently I'm not done yet with torturing myself because I still gotta place a bunch of wooden fencing to border another big garden. Now, we get back to the fun part. This being one of those low budget parks you just drive past by, we don't have much marketing budget, so we're gonna have to build a billboard. We start off with placing some of these gantries down, followed by some of these panel pieces placed parallel to each other on the front and back. After building the panels way up high, we gotta add some supports because we can't just have a floating sign. To do this, we add even more gantries at the bottom of the sign itself and the bigger gantries below it. And as the final bit of support, I use a concrete cylinder piece. Then, I color everything this dark red color to match the color of the default Amargasaurus in the last game. Then, I add the text. I went with something a little more simple and minimalistic here, with text saying "Meet the Amargasaurus." I decided the A was a little too big, so I just made it the size of everything else. And as a nice finishing touch, an underline underneath the dino's name. To all the G's out there who know about gang beasts, yes, this sign is based off of the billboard map. Then, I surround the billboard with a bunch of trees because the bare scaffolding didn't really look right directly on top of the grass. Going back to the paved area, we add a little water fountain with a bunch of plants, a bunch of seating, and tree planters to surround it as well. I copy it over to the other side, and I wondered if I could fit a sauropod skull on top of the fountain, but it wasn't really proportionate whatsoever, so instead I sink it down into the plants. And now, we finally get to work on the enclosure. This is a petting zoo, so of course we're going to use the Gentle Giants attraction so our guests can interact with the tiny baby Amargasauruses. What? You can't use the Amargasaurus? Guess we gotta do this the hard way. Instead of using the normal petting zoo thing, we're gonna have to build our own. Now, I'm really bad at doing modular building for buildings, so I'll use the normal attraction for some heavy reference purposes. I do really feel like trying to replicate the normal attraction did help me understanding modular building quite a bit more. I know about a bunch more pieces and how to use them, I know how to use certain pieces for purposes they might not always be used for and stuff like that, and I do think that could be a really cool way to improve your understanding of modular building too. Anyway, after finishing the rough shape of the building, I go ahead and place down 4 windows and surround surround them with concrete trim so the walls don't get too flat. To give it a little more texture, I cover the top bit with copper and use some trims to help with the edges. Then we deal with the roof. I get 4 of these awnings and place them above the ceiling, then I get some supports down so the roof isn't levitating. Hopping onto the other side of the building, we start off with placing down this door with a void inside of it and place down some panel trims to make it look a bit more of a cool doorway. Like the Gentle Giants attraction, this building will have 2 floors. So no one falls off the second story, we gotta add some wooden fences, and inside those we add some more roof supports, a door, windows, and some outdoor seating so our guests can enjoy the Amargasaurus from the balcony. A little more texture never hurts, so let's go ahead and place down a bunch of these posts on the bare panels. And after placing some decorational posts on the side which are far greener than I remember them to be, the building is complete. Now all we gotta do is turn it around and fix up the path. Now here's the saddest part. I lost footage to building the Amargasaurus enclosure too, so we're gonna have to cut to shaping the mountains outside of the enclosure. But basically, I had some path in front of it that's sort of inside the enclosure, so only guests who have access to the building can see the dinosaurs much more up close and personal. After shaping the terrain, I placed down some amenities, but right now we focus on this restroom. We're not gonna do much to it, cause all we need is a nice planter board path leading up to the bathroom. For the restaurants, we're gonna have to do a little editing, and when I say a little, I mean a little, because we're really just switching up the signs here. Now, we finally get to the Amargasaurus. I'm gonna hatch 6 of them in the hatchery, and I'm gonna try and get 3 juveniles, so a total of 9. Right now, I'm customizing the female skin. I go for a sandy desert color for that one, but for the males, I go with a more vibrant bluish tint with random patterns enabled. Then, I go ahead and airlift them into the enclosure, and I realize that it's far too overstocked. So, I trank and sell one of the males, so we have a bit more room for the juveniles to run around in, who are coming out of their nests right about now. Since you guys didn't get to see any footage of me building the enclosure, let's squeeze in a couple shots of it. Let's start off with the view a security camera might be getting, panning left to right here. Then we get a shot from our modularly built modular building. Then we end it all off with a shot of a baby right next to an adult. And that's the end of the video. If you like dinosaurs, be sure to like, share, and subscribe, because who knows, I might do another Amargasaurus build later on down the line. That's called foreshadowing. Have a great day, guys. See you later.